Hey, good afternoon, morning, etc., etc., etc. I am Raymond Camden. Welcome to Code Break episode something or another. I always try to remember to check beforehand, and I forget half the time. But this is the second Code Break for May, and in on a Monday, I hope to get back on Tuesdays because I prefer Tuesdays next month. But as I mentioned last week, I am starting a new job. Yay, me. Finally, I'm starting tomorrow, actually. I even have my work laptop over here. I will admit to being a bit concerned until it actually like showed up and I could log in and check my work email and all that. But yeah, I'm I'm starting tomorrow morning. I mentioned this on LinkedIn. If you follow me there, I apologize, but I will be starting as a API evangelist for Foxit. So still working with PDFs. If you had told me 10 years ago that I would be working with PDFs as an evangelist, I would have said you're crazy. But I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. It's been interesting. Something that ended up being a lot more complex than I would have thought. But either way, it's been fun, and I have a job, and I start tomorrow. Can't wait. I really hope to get back on a every 2 weeks on a Tuesday schedule. I need to get with Brian soon, um, and also just kind of see how this new job lays out. I'm not worried about taking an hour for a stream, but I my schedule may be a bit crazy. So hopefully, when life gets simple, soon, right? It'll be a very consistent schedule, and I won't be moving things back and forth and all that. Um, but who are we kidding? It's always going to be crazy. So, with that, let's kind of get into the meat of what we're doing today. If you were here last time, and I gotta share this comment because I love it. Thank you, Todd. If you were here last time, I was talking about building desktop apps with the web platform. And let me share my screen and all that. I've got to present, share screen. I feel like I'm a little bit. There we go. Let's move this over here. Oh Lord, nope. All right, too many windows. Hold on, I'm gonna get this right. I just gotta move this any second now. I swear I'm gonna get it. Hold on. Let's stop sharing. Get my darn. There we go. All right, I need to move you over here. That way I can see what's going on and see comments. I've recently changed my desktop setup and all that. So, all right, let's share screen again. And entire screen. Boom, saw like that. And actually, oh, cool. All right, it's actually showing up. All right, cool. No more issues, I promise. So I had worked with Tori last time. It's a Rust-based platform. I've never used Rust, never seen it before until today, or until my last session. And I installed it, ran it, and built an application under Ubuntu on my Windows machine. So under Windows system subsystem for Linux. I had noticed that it was a little bit slow, so I thought, let me go ahead and just remove Ubuntu, Ubuntu from the picture, and just do it Windows native. And I started that process in the stream, and it didn't finish. It needed to install quite a bit more, including like parts of Visual Studio and all that. But it did finish. It did actually install, and I can actually show you. Let's look at this. So I had made a folder, an application called App2 that had all of the like defaults that you get from scaffolding the application. And so this is now under Windows. So if also, let me just kind of refresh y'all's memory. The source folder is where all the web stuff was, and source Tori source was where the Rust stuff was. And never having seen this before, you could tell where the low-level operating system packages. The way these, like all these, particular platforms work is that it has a web shell up front, it has running the back end, which is Node.js, et cetera. And when your application needs to do that sort of powerful desktop stuff that the web can't do, it will communicate from the web shell front end to the back end and kick off a process on that side that will do whatever magical stuff it needs to do. And that backend process can then return something back to the front end. So the scaffolded application actually has an example of this. And you can see it right there where in JavaScript, I am importing a invoke method that essentially Tori is injecting into this web shell. And when I have it, I can run that invoke. That passes it off to the Rust call, and that's yeah, it's magic in this case. It's just a formatted string. That result comes back. So that's all that. Let's actually run this. And again, this should be a little quicker now because it's under Windows. It's npm run tari dev. And we'll see how fast this turns around. By the way, if you're in the comments, please say hi. Todd already has. Thank you, Todd. You're my favorite. And there we go. We have the application. You see, this looks very much like a Windows application. Just like in the last stream when we ran it, was a Ubuntu Windows, a windowed application. Not a fan of how it looks. Like my Ubuntu usage is all via terminal. But it matched what made sense for that desktop, and now this matches what makes sense for this desktop. If I were to run this on a Mac, which I don't have, then it would have like a regular Mac-looking desktop feel to it. And if I remember from last time, we actually have hot reload. So let's go ahead and go into here, Visual Studio Code, and I forgot to make my font bigger, so y'all let me know if that is too small. And we're in the front end, and you know what? I'm gonna get rid of that logo. I'm gonna get rid of JavaScript. Goodbye. And we will just say, welcome to Windows. I think Microsoft Build is going on right now, so that's kind of cool. All right, so save this, and bam, that was like near instantaneous. Let's save and alt tab. Okay, not sure how well that showed up on the stream, but I saved it, I alt tabbed, and I saw it less than a second later show up. Now, I do believe that you have to restart the process if you change something in the back end. So remember, this was the Rust code. It's just formatting. Hello, you've been greeted from Rust. So let's make sure it works. Ray. Yep. And if I change this from Rust, I don't believe it's going to reload. I'll actually look at the, oh, it killed the application. So it may be doing a hot reload, but just killing the process. Let's see. That's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. There we go. All right, and now I say Ray. I think all I added was a couple. Yeah, that turnaround was a little bit slower, but okay. Like I'm assuming that most of my work is going to be in the front end, building this application and so forth, and less so on the back end. So I think I know enough now to actually build the application that I kind of wanted to build. And that was, let me just move some stuff over here. Got too many windows. All right, give me 1 second. I am looking for, there we go. All right, where I wrote down how to scaffold in Tari. And that was, I could have just gone back to the website, but npm create Tari app, Tari-app, latest. And what I want to build is the death clock. And we'll keep the identifiers, TypeScript, JavaScript. npm vanilla. We'll go with just regular JavaScript, and it's there. Cd def clock npmi, and we'll let that run. So if you don't know, 20 years or so ago, long time ago in a place far away, I built a website called devclock.com, and it is still around. Should be. I sold the website a while ago, so I'm going to open up this website, and if it has changed drastically bad, then I apologize. All right, it's still there. So, basic idea was, this was a really dumb idea, but you would enter your birthday and your gender, and based on your gender and how old you are, if you're a man and the average lifespan was 72 years and you're 52 years left, you have X amount of time left, like so many years. I would take that and I would convert it to seconds and actually click down. Now, uh, based on what's happened here, I see they've added BMI, they've added modes, that's fine. And smoking status, but I'll just to show you how this looks. I was born April 8th, 73, and this should open up a little pop-up window. And there we go. They've obviously not worked on this in a while. Oh, they broke it too, it looks like. Oh, well, not my problem, not my website anymore. But basically, you know, how long can you expect to live? Change it to seconds, show it. Oh, there you go. It took forever to load. And then just count down. And so this is what I want to build. So let's close this tab. And for those of us with old eyes, the text is difficult to read. I hear you. I'm here for you, Scott. I will bump it up one more time. All right, so let's go into here and go ahead and run this application. Tory dev. And I'm going to close all the old stuff because I want to focus on my new one. And we're going to go in here. So what I want to do is start very simple. I want to have two views. First view will be asking for your day of birth, your year, and then I'll ask for your gender, and then you'll hit a button. And then that will switch to the second view, which shows the live countdown of how many seconds you have left to live. So let's start off by getting rid of all this stuff. I will keep the main in there, and we'll go on to JavaScript. And I'm not going to keep any of this except for DOM content loaded, and we will do like that. We'll keep this, save that, and let me clean out my styles because this is going to have all kind of crap that I don't care about. Let's make this as basic as possible. And are you even running? Oh, you're building. I'm probably messing things up while I'm doing it too. Can you bump up the font size? Are you ever happy, Mr. Rose? Let's see. I can. Nice and humongous. Although in theory, I shouldn't be doing anything more in there. I should just be saving it, viewing the app when it launches. I don't know if you can hear it, but my laptop's fan is kicking. There we go. It should be a blank page. Cool. Yeah, I recently lost my desktop to a storm we had a couple months ago. I had it in a surge protector, but the motherboard died. So I am doing everything via a very nice laptop, but am looking to get a desktop sooner or later. So, okay, enough of that. We need a birthday. And you know what I think I may do? I may cheat here and say ID equals D. I think we could do it all in one input type. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I like that. Now, the only issue is that it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to like enter 1973. I mean, look how much I have to scroll. That's, I'm old, so that's all right. I like having it all in one thing. Yeah. You know what? I don't want the time. Let's just say date local. I'm pretty sure that's a valid thing. And no, it's not. Surely it is. Indian input. Let's look at the reference. Except I typo type and input. So what did I say? Date time local. So it's just date. All right. So we will go in here, go and saw it like that, save it, and come back. And let's see how much of a pain in the butt this is. Still feels like a pain in the butt. Like I don't like this control. Yeah, but I may just live with it for now. April 8th. There we go. So we have a date of birth. Again, not happy with that, but let's go ahead and add a label. Make it for DOB. Enter your DOB, date of birth. So we have our label, we have our input type, and then we will add a button that will start the process, and we'll call it show def clock. And for the heck of it, I'm gonna go ahead and put a value in here. So one little trick I do whenever I'm doing anything with the web platform, um, if I have a form, a lot of times I will put default form values in just to make my testing easier. Because if I'm using anything that's like constantly reloading the web browser, even like CodePen, for example, I hate to like keep re-entering values. So let's see. I'm really not sure what it's going to take. Let's see if it barfs on that. 1973. We'll add an ID for DC. I'll call it DC button. I definitely won't forget that name. And save it. And let's see if that default value works. It did not. And that's because it probably, let's actually try to make it match. 04, 08, 1973. Cool. I am not going to worry about it. Or, you know what? We'll open up DevTools here. And why is DevTools so crazy? All right. Look at that. DevTools told me does not conform to the required format. I love it. It not only told me what I did wrong, it even literally spelled out what the correct format was. So it is year dash mm 0408. And in theory, we save it. And then bam. Perfect. So now I don't have to worry about clicking through and all that jazz. So in our code, I need a click handler for a DC button. So we will say document query selector DC button, add event listener, click, and we'll call it show DC for show def clock. And I will define that function here. I'm going to need a handler for the DOB. Is that what I called it? DOB, yep. So I will say let DOB out here, define it, and then DOB equals document.query selector. DOB. So that points at an input field. And again, if I'm not happy with it, if I want to make it a couple different fields like the old website has, I could break that up later. But right now, I want to say birth date equals dob.value. And if no birthday, like if you didn't actually type anything, we'll just return. We won't do anything. But ideally, at this point, we could start figuring things out. Now, I mentioned 2 views, but with me being able to use one input field, I could potentially just kind of show the counter there. So you know what? I'm not gonna like show and hide a whole page of stuff here, and instead I'm going to have a div for the counter, and we'll call it a death counter, or yeah, death counter. That sounds fine. Death counter. Save that. Make a variable for that. Also, another thing that if you watch the show, you know, I like to use dollar signs typically for my DOM related variables. And let's repeat this for death counter. All right. So that is most of the DOM manipulation. Now all we got to do is figure out how much time you have left to live. So I am going to set a constant for, oh, I was supposed to do gender. Well, we'll make it male for now, and I'll add gender in a moment. So we'll say male lifespan equals 72 years times 365 days. Obviously, we're ignoring leap years, times 24 hours, times 60 minutes, times 60 seconds. So this should be male's lifespan in seconds. So we know that. So then we need to figure out how old you are. So we'll say birth date. I feel like I'm using the word birth date too much. I'm going to say B date equals new date, birth date. And that should give us a date. And let me just make sure I haven't screwed anything up yet. So this should be a date object for your birth date. Can't line 11. There's an error on that. DB button. I think it was DC button. There we go. Fix that. No errors. So I'll hit show def clock. And B date is not defined. Oh, yeah, put a let in front of there. All right. I'll get this perfect one day. Show def clock. There we go. So that's the date object for when I was born. All right. So if we compare your birthday to now, we can figure out how many seconds alive you've been. So let now equals new date. And if I remember right, get time returns the milliseconds since epoch. So the difference would be let difference equals now that get time minus your B day that get time, and that should be a large number in milliseconds that we will divide into seconds. And so if I didn't screw this up, in theory, you are diff seconds old. Let's see, this should be a nice large number, especially for me, because I'm ancient. And show def clock. Console is not a function. Well, it should be a function. Console.log. Let's see. All right, going away. All right, that's a lot of seconds. All right, so I need to have logic at some point to handle if I'm past 72, but for right now, we'll just say seconds left. Yeah, we'll make a variable for that. I'm having a brain fart here. Let's see. Diff is seconds to live, really. Nope, sorry. Diff is how old you are now. So let seconds to live equals male lifespan minus diff. And this number should be less. You have And I could use a template string here, but I'm just doing this quick. To live. All right, so this should be some smaller number. And show def clock. Yes, that's smaller. I'm pretty sure it's pretty big. We're gonna do some formatting on here. And actually, let's go ahead and math.floor that to get rid of the things after the decimal. All right, run this again. All right. And I am going to show def counter. So I have def counter already. So we will say, and I really need to have like a message at some point, but def counter that enter HTML equals you have, now I'll use a proper string, seconds to live, seconds left to live. And in theory, we can make this look better with some CSS, but we're not going to worry about that now. And click. Boom. Let's go ahead and render that. I will just use, I love the INTL spec. I kind of struggle remembering how to use it off the top of my head, but that's what this is here for. Number format, not currency, just regular number format. Yeah, just give me a little simple. Yeah, you're really focused on currency. I just want the numbers. So you know what? I'm actually going to write this in console. So I'll say x equals huge number, new INTL number format dot format x. Yeah, that's all I needed. So we'll say new INTL number format dot format. And I should probably cache that new INTL format. I'll worry about that when I get this actually live. Save. And then boom. So 625 million seconds. That's plenty. So what I want to do now is actually make this live. And to do that, I'm going to use an interval. And I make sure that every time you click that button, and the idea here being is that you're changing your date of birth or whatever, I want to clear the existing interval. So I'm going to make a variable out here. I'll call it DCHB for def clock heartbeat. And we will set this up, say DCHB equals new, no, is set interval. And the function and the interval of 1 second. And we will just say seconds to live minus minus. And we will copy and paste this here. I mean, in theory, I could just, actually, not in theory, I am going to get rid of this because this will fire off immediately, or should. And we will see this going down. Yeah, okay, so save. Oh, and let me do this. If DCHB clear interval DCHB, so that should clear any existing one. All right, so what I did was basically set up the interval that will run every second, and will continue to decrease the number. And so in theory, I hit start, and it does have that second pause. I think I'm gonna copy and paste that line back in, and we can see it going down. And yeah, I don't like to repeat any code, but I'm not gonna worry about optimization right now. This should make it show immediately, and then a second later, it will go down. So, click, And there we go. Anybody in my audience want to volunteer a birthday? Hopefully, somebody younger than me and my old friends who are, who are watching now. Or my old friends can share their birthday as well. Who's brave enough to do this? And we absolutely need some CSS in here bad because this is ugly as sin. At least put a paragraph around these guys. And then how about we make the body black? Background color black. And we'll make font color. No, we will make text color. Why am I struggling here to remember how to make a color on text? Why am I being dumb about this? Is it just text? Nope. You're watching me be embarrassingly bad at basic stuff. I'm gonna ask AI because I am. I've already signed in. Here, yes, that's fine. Let me in. Do all the things. Oh, I'm not doing my password live. I'll just drag this over here and see if I typed it correctly. Do my two-factor authentication. It's totally me. All of this because I can't remember a darn CSS property. Color. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Roger. I don't know why I drew blank on that. Sorry, AI, you're dead to me. All right, so color white. You just go away. Just go away. We're not signing in right now. All right, so look at that. And because I'm using a paragraph tag there, I am using div. I'll just actually apply this globally. And that should, there we go. Perfect. You you are making it harder than needed. Roger, you're right, and thankfully I never do that ever in my life. All right. Do we have any volunteers who are willing to share your age? Doesn't matter how old you are. Try not to be older than 72 because we haven't built that logic in there yet. Please volunteer. And while I'm doing that, let's make death counter div death counter and make it 3em big. And you know, Google Fonts actually has, although I'm not sure that would work in a desktop app, I could probably get a nice scary looking font for this. There we go. That's huge. All right, still no volunteers willing to share your age? What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Somebody give me a birthday. Even the old people. Come on, give me a birthday. Or you can also just lie to me and make one up. Or pick a friend. Pick a friend that you know their birthday and share with me their birthday. We won't tell them. Okay, Roger says 65. So you're gonna make this difficult for me. Watch this. Calculator. 2025 minus, he said 65. Oh, I could have done that math in my head. 1960. All right. So, Roger, I'm going to pick 1960, and I'm going to pick middle of the year. We will pick June 14th. And so I had 625 million seconds. So you have slightly less than, pardon me, 625 million. You have 221 million. So a smaller number. So this is a desktop app for that. Let's actually go ahead and add gender in here because that shouldn't be too hard, especially if we drop it right here. We'll do a select ID equals gender. We will default to female, just have that first. Option for male. And that is our gender drop down. So we'll add a new variable for gender and say gender equals document query selector gender. All right, so now if we have a birthday, we get the gender. Let my gender equals gender.value, and let me just console.log. Make sure I didn't screw up any of this. Not happy with my variable names in this, but I will live with it. Let me hide that comment. Sorry, Roger, to get that up there. All right, cool. So let's make sure it's working. Gender female, gender male. Yep. All right. Last time I checked, women were 78 years. You know, I am not concerned enough to actually go in there and get real numbers. This is a game. When I had run the website, you would not believe how many people got upset about the accuracy of a website called the Deaf Clock. That's just crazy. So, all right, we know the gender. So right now, right here, we need a if. So if my gender equals male, triple equal, then we use what we had before, else. And let me bring this out of here. But actually, let me, just in case, I've done this multiple times. I was stopping myself before I did it. If you ever do this right here, don't forget that let is block scoped, which means it only exists inside the block, which is this condition. And seconds to live then would not be visible outside of there. I have made that mistake too many times to count. So we will just define it once, set it here, and set it here. And then in theory, we can test this by just comparing female to male. It should be a regular number, 625, and this should go lower if I did it right. And oh, how many of you watched me do that female lifespan? All right. So this should be a bigger number, 815 million. And if I'm a guy, it drops down. Cool. So that is the entire application. So there's a couple things I want to do here. First, I want to know if I could change that title to be like nicer. So let's see if it picks up on the HTML title. It's not, because it's not saying Toria, it's saying Deaf Clock. So let's just, I mean, I'm sure this is all in the docs, but I don't want to read the docs. So let's see where it's picking up the application name from. If I had to guess, this configuration file. Oh, sure. Let's call this Deaf Clock and see what happens. Yep, it recognized a low-level change. It killed the app. So in theory, it should be coming up. Then, oh, actually, you know what? This is it right here. Yep. Go away. Let's return this back to what it was. Deaf Clock, window title. Another thing I want to do is actually make it better size, and we can get a heck of a lot smaller. So width, I'm gonna bring down to 6 and height down to 4. So let's see what happens. As it reloads. Not bad. And I should really style it much better before I worry about shrinking the window. But I will go ahead and bring down the width a little bit more, 50 pixels, and bring down height a bit. And what I want is just a nice focused little floating window that I can run on the side. So let's see. And it comes back. All right. Be me. And there we go. And you know what? That is not bad. Let's actually try to build this out as an executable that in theory I could share with people. So if I remember correctly, and let me just check my notes here on how to build guides, create a project. Yep, this is all the create. How do you actually build it out? Adding a figure front end, learn how to build your Tory app. All right. To develop, yeah, we're doing that. Not doing a mobile app. I want to spit out a exe. And in theory, that should be somewhere along here. Configuration, embedding, debug, distribute. All right. Not going to an app store. All right. Run Tory build. That makes sense. So we'll kill this. npm run Tory build. And let's see if we get a Windows executable out of this. And I'm assuming I could do things like pick an icon and stuff like that. Not going to worry about that. Curious to see how big this puppy is. As it does all the building. Come on. So close. 482 out of 493. You can do it. I believe in you. I believe in you. Oh, cool. 4 to go. Come on. Come on. Give me a .exe. And 2 more to go. My fan is going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And it's always the last little bit that takes the longest. Come on. Ah, cool. And I made a candle, whatever the candle is, running it. Light to produce. Oh, it actually built an MSI file. That's cool. And an exe. All right. No idea what any of this is. Let's see. We go in here and see if we got where did you drop stuff? Did you drop it in source? No, it's the web front end. Did you drop it in? Got to be in target, release, build. That is a lot of stuff there. Let's keep scrolling down. All right, bundle, MSI. All right, reveal in File Explorer. 2 megs or almost 3 megs. That's not that bad. And if I double click this, look at that. I have an installer even. And again, I could definitely make this better. I have no doubt on that. We will, yeah, install it. That was far easier than I thought it was going to be. Yes, it's an unknown publisher, but I know I saw on their docs that you could sign stuff. But I'm not going to worry about that. And let's launch it. And I've got a def clock. Look at that. Nice. I like it. And in theory, if I go to my start menu, def clock, yeah, there it is. That was really, really cool, I think. So, let's see what time it is. It's 15 minutes till the top of the hour. Maybe let's work on the CSS a little bit. I am kind of curious about like fonts. If I use a Google font, then that means it's going to be online only, which I do not want. Uh, turns. Oh, this is interesting. You can get access to the. Oh, this must be part of what you get via Tori in your front end. You can actually get their available fonts. That's kind of cool. But I could probably just go with a nicer Arial font or something like that. Um, just looking at all of this stuff that you have access to, which is nice. What would the image thing be? All right, not going to get into that. You have tray access, which is kind of cool. You could set a tray tooltip. That's nice. I could actually do that for depth clock, like every million or so seconds, like make an announcement of some sort via the tray. Um, I am not going to worry about specifying a font. I do want it to look a little bit nicer. So let's actually get back into dev, and we'll do a little bit more, just a tiny bit more on the CSS. So I know that font family, there's always some good defaults here. I'm gonna go with Arial. So that should make it look already a little bit better. Um, this does look kind of boring, but it's also one nice line. So we'll run that. I want to center the text in there. So that would be hex-align center. No way it's going to be that easy. Nice. And let's actually see if we can make this div take 100% of the viewport remaining and potentially vertically align it. I feel like that may be I may be pushing it to do that, but for the heck of it, we will go in here. We'll go into this and say height equals 100 VM. Now, unfortunately, I think, oh, that's telling me it's bad already. Can you give me the warning? That's for the height. 100% will make it bleed out. Or I thought it would. Show me. Yeah, you're not getting any bigger. But that's all right. You know what I may just do? Put a little margin on top of like 25 pixels. Maybe 50 pixels. Oh, that's perfect. Especially if we make the window a little bit smaller. So we will, that was margin top. Margin top that baby 50 pixels. Save it. Let it reload. Run it again. And you know what? One last thing. We will shrink that height by 30. See what it does. As it processes, and this will be the last thing I do. All right, there we go. And you know what? I love it. That's not bad. Until I changed the mail and realized I lost 200 million seconds. But what's 200 million seconds? So the last thing we potentially need to do is if you're already dead, because we don't want to count down. So let's actually do that. If seconds to live less than or equal to 0, and you know what? This actually needs to go twice because we need it in the interval as well in case we let it run forever. But again, I won't worry about prematurely optimizing this. We will just say depth counter dot enter HTML equals sorry, you have expired. And actually, I'm sorry for being quiet. What I'm thinking of is this will be the initial check, right? And I don't like to repeat the code. I don't like to repeat the code. Um, but I will here. Again, I can optimize this later. I will clear the interval. This should kill it inside it. DCHB and return. So in theory, yeah. So I'm not happy with the code repetition I have going on here, the logic repetition, but I can get over it. I am fine with that. So for the heck of it, let's pick a really, really ancient age, like this control. Like I said, it's not great. Doesn't scroll fast at all. Well, let's go back to at least 1940 or even earlier. All right, so 1931 and pick it and error. Let's see what the console says. Let's try it again. Show def clock. Oh, there we go. I must not have hit the button. There we go. Sorry you've expired. I am truly sorry for you. All right, so that's it. That is it. Let me remove this. Bring y'all back over here in front of me. All right, thank y'all so much. I normally go to the very end of the hour, but I think a few minutes is okay. So I will say we're going to continue this area of exploration, except next week or next session, I should say, it is going to be with a Python one called FLET, F-L-E-T. So same basic idea, but using Python instead. And I've already played with this a bit, and it's pretty interesting. I think I'm looking forward to kicking the tires on that quite a bit. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate all the comments. Todd, Scott, Roger, thank you all so much. And if you're watching this on the recording, just drop me a comment if you have one. And be safe out there. Oh, I will share one last thing, because why not? If you appreciated this and had fun, that URL is to my Amazon wish list. Feel free to hit me up and show your appreciation. Outside of that, again, have a good rest of your week and be safe. Bye.